Hi everyone, Daljeet Peterson here with astrolab21.com, and this is your weekly astrology forecast for the week of November 16th, 2020. Now, this will be the last week of Scorpio season, and I think for a lot of us, it can come to an end none too soon because, this has been a particularly intense Scorpio season. Scorpio is often intense, but seem to have been all the more so with all the tensions surrounding our recent elections, which even more than a week later, many of those frictions and tensions still continuing to linger on. But hopefully, towards the end of this week, we're all going to start to feel a rather palpable shift as the sun moves on from Scorpio and into the sign of Sagittarius. And that's going to happen on Sunday, the 22nd. And, I'll be doing a separate video on Sagittarius season later on in the week, so stay tuned for that. But as we begin this final week of Scorpio season, with the sun still in Scorpio, some of the configurations that we've been highlighting in recent weeks and into last week are still going to be in effect for us as we start this week. One of those configurations being that 10th square we talked about that Venus is making with the good old power trio in Capricorn, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. And this is going to continue to emphasize our deeply held values, right? Venus in its own sign, Libra, really getting us to focus on what we value, what we hold dear. And this is going to be in conflict with some of the values that are held within our communities and within our society at large, as represented by Capricorn. And many of these issues that we've all been struggling with throughout most of this year are going to continue to be occupying our minds, right? These conflicts we're having in the country and really around the world about how to deal with this ongoing pandemic, the government responses and the restrictions that are being placed on our lives, that Saturn and Capricorn effect, having to make sacrifices of our own personal liberties, right, so that we can benefit the good of all, for the collective good. And again, this Venus in Libra really calling us to be fair, to be gracious, to listen without prejudice, to seek out harmony and reconciliation. I think that energy is something that is in great need in our nation right now as we try to move forward and we try to heal, and continuing to bring that energy forward and really searching deeply in our hearts and our minds to find the compassion and the real genuine love for one another, that brotherhood love, that agape love. Looking for the ways that we can all just get along together so that we can all get through this time of great social stress together. So this highlights that effort and that energy that we need to tap to do that. Now, we also have Mercury, the planet of communication, which is moving into an opposition with Uranus, which is the great rebel and the liberator. So our thoughts and our minds and our words might be getting kind of a jolt of power during this week. We might get a download of sudden insights or unusual ideas or some new approaches to a problem that we've been struggling to solve. And, we can expect maybe some surprising information to be presented in the media this week, right? That's a very Uranus-Mercury opposition type of thing. And with Uranus being as it is in Taurus, the sudden change we might expect is in the area of values and possessions and resources, and particularly on money and finance. And with Mercury in Scorpio, we perhaps can expect some new information that was secret or hidden that might begin to emerge about the economy or something to do with our financial systems or the stock markets, anything that has to do with those Taurus values that we hold. So be on alert for that kind of information to pop up early in the week. Now, on Thursday, the moon is going to be moving through the latter degrees of Capricorn, and it's going to make its monthly visit with this good old power trio we've been talking about so much in 2020. That is Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn, all conjunct in the sign of Capricorn between about 22 and 25 degrees. And this has been the configuration of a lifetime that has defined for us this unprecedented year of 2020. And as the moon does every month, one day during that month, it's making a configuration with those three planets. And it's like a monthly check-in to see how are we dealing, how are we coping with the energy of this configuration, you know? Are we able to find a way to feel safe and to feel secure? That's our sense of the moon, right? How do we find security amidst the uncertainty that we're all experiencing? You know, and also we're seeing again this resurgency in the coronavirus cases, as we've been predicting all week, because Jupiter and Pluto are conjunct once again for the third and thankfully final time of the year. So hopefully this will be the last big wave in this coronavirus season that seems to have gone on way too long. But with the moon in Cancer and getting, you know, highlighting all of these heavy issues, we may feel that sense of weightiness and the heaviness of it all, and a sense of depression might set in. That's very typical of Capricorn. So we want to be on alert for that. And also with that Venus configuration we're talking about, right? That calling of our core values and our sense of feelings and our emotions. We're really being challenged to articulate what it is that matters most to us in our lives right now, and to really be gentle and forgiving and understanding of the circumstances that we're all in together, right? This is all being reflected in our own lives and in the world around us, right? And we're all being challenged to face these times that are calling for a need for transformation. You know, personal transformation as well as social transformation. You know, the structures, Capricorn, the routines, the practices, our day-to-day grind is being challenged and being called to be reformulated into a new way. And this is a necessary part of our evolution as individuals and as a collective. This is the time for these changes to take place. And, you know, for those of us who've begun to make these efforts, to take these steps, to embrace that Saturn function, to make these changes, many of us are already starting to feel some of those benefits, right? By being able to sort of drop some of this baggage that we've been carrying and feeling a sense of a weight being lifted. There, you get this sense of release and a renewal, a renewed perspective on life that is allowing us to move forward now with a new sense of purpose. We've been able to move on and put the past in the past. And that is really the true purpose of the Pluto process. It's rebirth. It's being reborn into a new sense of ourselves, a new cycle beginning. And what it gives us when we do this is we get this sense of momentum, right? That we're moving forward into a new phase of our lives. And once we've accepted the transformation and the transition, things start to move a little more easily. The blockages are lifted. You know, we can sort of gracefully and almost effortlessly start to move into this new phase. And next month, we're going to have what's known as the Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which happens once every 20 years. And this will be happening in 0 degrees of Aquarius. So this is really going to be a signal of a new phase that is beginning. And we want to be ready to move into that future with a rather solid foundation of having dealt with these security needs that have been coming up for us over the course of this challenging year. And if we're making these changes, if we're changing our habits and our routines and the structure of our lives, then we're able to meet this new opportunity with a clear conscience, right? Unburdened by that heavy conscious or unconscious stuff that's been coming up for us within the pressure cooker that has been 2020. And if we don't make these necessary changes, if we remain stuck in these old behavior patterns, then we're not going to get the opportunity to move forward. And rather than this time being an opportunity for future possibilities, we're going to see this as a threat, right? That it's something to be feared, that it's an uncertain future. So we're really being called to make these changes that are necessary. Each one of us, we all have a role to play in this big picture, because we don't want to operate with an outmoded framework. We don't want to use a mindset that no longer serves us. And I've been thinking a lot lately about the metaphor of the operating system on our computers, right? There's this point where the old OS just doesn't work as well any longer. Right? It can't keep up with the new apps and the new technology. It becomes sluggish. It becomes unresponsive. It gets bugs that need to be worked out and fixed. So we upgrade our operating system. And when we do that, voila, right? Things start to work better. The computer runs more efficiently. And now we can download and access these new apps that are enhancing our lives and our productivity and our connectivity. So in a lot of ways, 2020 has been a year for us to upgrade our personal operating systems. And this is because there are some amazing new apps that are coming down the line in the very near future. And we are going to want to have an optimally functioning operating system in order to be able to access these new apps, if you will. So I think that's a really apt metaphor, because we all want to be able to use that functionality. We all want to be able to get connected on this new platform that is being developed in real time and that we are all co-creating together, right? It's as if, think of it as crowdsourcing, right? We're all in it together. We all have a role to play. We all can participate in this, collective upgrade that is happening right now. And it's as if, we're building a 5G network that is for the 5D future, right? And I think that's a program that we can all get on board with, because we all benefit when it's that rising tide that's going to lift all ships. So it seems like a good point to end this week's forecast on. A very optimistic high point, which we haven't had so much of in recent weeks. So I hope that this has been helpful. I hope you've found some insights that you can take and work into your own lives. I hope you have, as always, a happy and healthy week to come. And if you've enjoyed the content and found it helpful, please help me out by hitting the like or subscribe buttons down below. As always, your support is greatly appreciated. Okay, until next time, Sat Nam, everyone.